Hello, nice to meet you. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Good afternoon. My name's Dr. Trevor Nicholls. I'm Chief Executive Officer of CABI, so I'm responsible for all that CABI does worldwide.
And you, sir?
My name is Dr. Dennis Rangi. I'm Director General responsible for all our development activities across the world.
So, CABI was invited to the CACAARI global event, and in this regard, what were your expectations before coming here? So, what were some aims which you were planning to achieve here in CACAARI?
Well, in addition to representing CABI, I was also here to represent ERCA, which is the Association of Independent Research Centres in Agriculture. CABI is one of 9 member centres there. But I was also here as a steering committee member of the Tropical Agriculture Platform, where CABI has been able to contribute a lot of its experience and expertise towards the development of the common framework for capacity development in agricultural innovation systems. So we were really looking to learn what was happening more broadly in the world, to network with existing partners and potential future partners, and hopefully to represent the interests of our member countries in terms of their agricultural development priorities, and to try and get those reflected in the final outcomes of CACAARI.
So, CABI specializes in developing bioscience across the world. And one of the programs is called Plantwise Global Program. Can you just give me some definition what it is? So what are the objectives of this program?
So Plantwise is a global program that really operates at a very local level. And what we do is we set up plant clinics which offer very practical advice to farmers to solve their pest and disease problems with their crops. So the farmer brings a sample to the clinic and gets a diagnosis and a prescription from the plant doctor. That information from all the market research we've done is proving very valuable to farmers. They report high satisfaction rates with the quality of the advice and significant yield improvements as a result of putting the advice into practice. The observations that we gather from the clinics are fed into a global knowledge bank, which allows us to build a picture of how pests and diseases are moving around the world in response to trade flows, climate change, population movements. But it's also a repository for very practical advice to support the plant doctors in recognizing pest and disease problems and providing best quality advice to the farmers to solve those problems. But perhaps, Dennis, you'd like to talk a bit more about some of the impacts that Plantwise has been making around the world.
Yeah, I think as Dr. Nicholls said, it's a global program. It's having very different impacts because at the end of the day, what's been happening is that extension is kind of not really working. And we had to look at how best we could really help extension be more effective. The farmers needed to be empowered so that at the end of the day, even if the governments were not really providing the extension they needed to provide, the farmers would not be so desperate. So this Plantwise program has narrowed that gap in terms of what farmers really need to do. It has enabled farmers to really take the decisions in their own hands so that they can make the decisions themselves. And in so doing, it's proving very, very effective. And some of the methodologies or some of the techniques that we're introducing provide farmers with real-time solutions to their problems. They don't have to wait. For example, if there is a pest problem that a farmer has identified, they don't have to wait a month or so before they get a solution to it. They're finding solutions almost immediately, and we're introducing mobile applications that help to make sure that farmers are not desperate in any way.
So we're operating Plantwise now in 34 countries around the world. We've trained nearly 5,000 plant doctors, and we have about 1,600 clinics running regularly. And we estimate that advice from those clinics has helped something like 4.5 million farmers around the world so far. And our target is to get up to 20 million farmers by 2020.
What are the perspectives in integrating this program on a regional level, especially for the Central Asian and Southern Caucasus?
We'd be very, very interested and very happy to work with the republics in Central Asia and work through CACAARI to implement the program. It requires commitment at the country level from the national ministries of agriculture or extension, if extension is separate. Because really, Plantwise, the secret of its success is it uses existing resources more effectively. So a plant doctor will typically be a regular extension officer, and he or she will run a clinic in a particular location perhaps once every 2 weeks. So the rest of the time they're doing their normal extension job. But the clinic allows them to get in front of many more farmers in a day, say 20 or 30 farmers, many more farmers than they would normally see if they were just doing on-farm visits. So we need, if you like, the commitment of the National Extension Service to make the time of their extension agents available. And then CABI will come in and help set up the system, train the plant doctors, train trainers of plant doctors, so that the concept really becomes embedded in the national system. Now that requires some sources of funding, so we would need to work closely with CACAARI to perhaps identify suitable donors who would be willing to support getting the system off the ground.
And just to add to what Dr. Nicholls has said, we already have an MOU with CACAARI, which is already beginning to explore how we can work with CACAARI to introduce the Plantwise program in certain Asian countries. Separately also, we are already in discussions with the government of Uzbekistan, and we're developing an MOU to just look at how we can collaborate at the national level. So already there are efforts in place to really see how the whole program can be introduced into Central Asia.
So thank you so much for your kind support, for your help, for your contribution also, which is really important for the Central Asian and South Caucasus region. We value the attention which CABI has paid to CACAARI, because one of the aims of the CACAARI is to strengthen the partnerships across the world, not only with the national, regional, but with the global organizations. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your interest in our organization, and I'd like to point out that CABI is an intergovernmental organization, so we are owned by our member countries. We have 48 member countries worldwide, going quite literally all the way from Australia to Zimbabwe. And we would love to have some of the Central Asian countries join up to membership as the relationship builds.
So this is one of the aims of the CACAARI, to involve the national stakeholders, to integrate with the international ones. So hopefully this work plan will work successfully, and I wish you success in your work. Wish you all the best on behalf of CACAARI. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.